Do the Dolphins have a ping pong table?
I don't know. Not enough of those to get out of the locker room, brother. I don't know if that's going to help them. They stink at football down there in Miami. We don't love that. What are your thoughts on that situation? Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, now that you brought it up, Jage, and you're thinking about retirement, man, wouldn't that be a great place to go back for you this year? Maybe come in, save the Dolphins season. Listen, it's not great. It gets worse every single week. They've said, hey, listen, we're not going to fire Coach McDaniel anytime soon. It's not imminent. Stephen Ross doesn't really care, it seems like. And, boy, he's going up to the podium post-game and saying a lot, and that's really – people have kind of met their threshold with that. Tua is throwing people under the bus. He's throwing Tua under the bus. Just kind of what's your whole view of this entire Dolphins situation?
This is far past ping pong table territory. When you are doing it as publicly as they're doing it and hiding it as little as they're hiding it, it just makes you wonder what it's like behind the closed doors. Because it's pretty wild how much stuff they're saying publicly. And when you sit there and watch it and you just think to yourself, you didn't have to say any of that. Like, Tua didn't have to say what he said the other day. The coach doesn't have to say what he says at the podium. Like, it's you can stand at that podium and give coach speak and player speak answers. People do it all the time. And you can handle stuff behind closed doors. So when it gets to the point where you are discussing these types of things in public, generally that means it has been pretty bad behind the scenes for a while. And clearly it has to be at that point there. I mean, we all saw this team as a legitimate playoff team a few years ago and potential for bigger things. And unfortunately, it just seems to have unraveled quickly.
Yeah, I think it has unraveled pretty quickly, and their fans have certainly witnessed it all kind of unravel in real time alongside Gumpy watching this team. Will anybody ever be able to win in Miami?
Why not?
Because have you been? I mean, obviously you're J.J. Watt, so I think you probably live and move a little bit differently than some people. But whenever you talk about a football team and the sum of its parts and everything that is available in Miami, I think it's going to be a tough place to win.
You did it in 72. I mean,
that's true. Before the merger.
Yeah, you're right. 1972. I didn't even think.
But you could say that about like L.A. L.A.'s got a lot going on.
No, it does. No, I don't think so. Actually, I think that's a little different story. Like Miami.
Florida and Cal.
Just never sleeps. Miami never sleeps.
A lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities. In a lot of places you think are nightclubs, they're not nightclubs. They're actually adult ballets. And then you walk in there, they're also serving you steak, and they're telling you can be here till 7:30 a.m. And guys are like, well, I don't got a meeting till 8 a.m., so why don't I do it? I think there's just a lot of options down in Miami. I don't know. And I know the Miami Heat have been able to win. And obviously we've learned that Gilbert Arenas just gave a great quote to Neon, I believe, about what the lifestyle is of an NBA player and everything like that.
Talking a little too much, a little chatty.
Oh, I got to see that.
A lot of stories coming in. It was a lot. He said a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of people, whoa.
Stop,
but
man.
He's just telling us we're learning from outside looking in. I think Miami's going to be tough to win. And then we go back to what Tyreek Hill said after the season last year. Tyreek was done with this shit last year.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody kind of buried Tyreek for it. And then now the season's happening, and Tyreek's like, that's what I was saying. This place sucks.
It might be a reverse Dan Campbell situation, too. I mean, obviously, they never knew what he was going to turn into, but, like, he was their interim head coach a couple years ago. Like, he was in their building. They could have, I mean, if he gets that job, do things change, and do they stay the course a little bit more? But they were like, this guy's a fucking dipshit. Get him out of here. Let's bring him McDaniel.
I don't know, man. Detroit and Dan Campbell were the perfect marriage.
I agree.
Perfect time and everything. Like, I don't know if it maybe does, but I do think you have to have the right mentality and infrastructure for that to happen. And we always have to remember what happened in his first year. Like, you had to be able to weather that storm. And I just...
That was tough.
I don't know if it's the same situation in Miami if he is able to do that.
You mentioned Miami and the Miami Heat in particular. One of the first things you think about when you think about the Miami Heat is Pat Riley and the Heat culture. And that's why, even being so opposite of what most NBA franchises, at least from the outside in, look, it's like, hey, I mean, shit, ran LeBron out of town because over some damn cookies. You know what I mean? Like, that's Riles. We heard UD talk about it every time he came on the show. So that type of structure, obviously what's going on with the Panthers, obviously a very different culture just in hockey in general. But that style of leadership from the top down, Coach Murray's, Zito, all those guys. So you definitely have to have the structure from the top down. And you look at coach, once again, we're not in the building day in and day out, but you hear a lot of people that have been around football for a long time, and they talk the way they talk about Mike McDaniel. They'll be like, hey, that's the complete opposite of what you need, especially in a place like Miami. So yeah, it's going to be tough to win down there.
He would have had to have won a lot.